Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I'm your host, Adin Villa, and today we have a graduate quarterback / wide receiver from the Edmonton Huskies Football Team and a fifth-year environmental engineering student at the University of Alberta, Simon Francescut.
Question. So, how's your day, man? It's been good.
Dog, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, class from 8 to 1 today, and then in the minimal amount of free time I have, I come here.
Yeah, dude, you were busy all the time, right?
Well, yeah, that's why we haven't had a lift together yet.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about your journey in being a mix of being an Eng student and a member or a graduate member from the Edmonton Huskies Football Team.
Yeah, so I've been playing football for like 13 or 14 years. I don't really know the exact amount, but it started when I was like grade 7 or 8. And just immediately I was just like drawn to it. I really didn't like the contact like when I first started, which is really weird because football is like a super contact, like heavy sport.
Right.
But my dad always watched it on the TV, and there's at times where I'm like, hey, can we watch football? And eventually it was like the point where I just bugged him so much, like, hey, can I play it? He's like, oh God, Simon, all right, fine. Yeah. My mom's like, no, don't. And my dad's like, no, let him do it, right? So yeah, I started playing when I was like grade 6 or 7.
It's a long time now.
Yeah.
How many years would that be?
Oh, I don't know, 13 or 14, whatever it is. Freaking 23 now.
Yeah.
I'm old, man.
Dude.
I feel old. My body's broken. But yeah, no. I was always a backup too, which is crazy. Why I stuck with it so long. I guess I'm just stubborn. My mom can tell you I'm stubborn, right? But
never give up.
No. I'm just there's a little bit of beating your head against the wall there. But I'm very happy I stuck with it. My dad was always like, use football as a launch pad for other things, and honestly, it got me to places that I really was just like satisfied with. It helped me get through my first year of engineering with like supplying tutors, a little bit of scholarship money in my second and third year, bit more scholarship money in the third and fourth. Sorry, in the fourth and fifth when I was with the Huskies. So yeah, and it's definitely a mental battle for sure, but like just the love for the sport runs deep, and like balancing it with school is a bit tough. A bit tough at times. Other student athletes will tell you like, oh yeah.
Good, especially for Eng though.
Yeah.
Could you choose any other program though that's like easier, right? But you had to choose the hardest.
Oh no, and
is that just kind of the mentality behind kind of who you are?
Well, the reason why I chose Eng actually was just because I had my old football coach of mine. Shout out Frank Usick. He was our high school football coach. Right. The head coach for 11 and 12. We won cities in grade 12, and he's like, Simon, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. He's like, well, I'm an engineer, and I'm like, he's someone I guess that I kind of looked up to at the moment, right? And it's kind of why I chose Eng, because I mean my grades were high enough. I always kind of knew that I wanted to do something STEM. And
you were a smart kid.
Yeah, I was in AP Math, and I did Chem 30 twice just because an 83 wasn't enough the first time for getting into the program, right? So I just wanted to solidify getting into engineering. It was like that or like Kines, because I love physical activity, I love all that, but my dad steered me away from that and was just like, hey, like if you want to make some like money, you gotta go to Eng. So I ended up doing engineering. And how I got into environmental is just, it's just.
Can you tell me the story on that?
Yeah. Honestly, it was just, hey, pick one, because like the way it works in engineering, first year is an absolute nightmare. Right? So yeah, you have like 6 classes in first semester, 4 labs, and then you got 6 classes, 4 labs wow. So you got 6 and 4.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you got too many.
Yeah.
Right? And what you do is you take your GPA out of both those years, and then start out both those semesters, and then everyone, all like 1,400 first year engineering students, along with the McEwen transfers, because the McEwen has an engineering transfer portal to U of A. You all put like a list of 15, and it's just based on availability, based on GPA. So if you have a 4.0, then you get your first pick, right? And then like I had a buddy, he had like a 2.2, which is like a C plus, just under, and he got his like 7th pick, right, out of like 15, which is okay. And like he transferred out of it because he did not want to be in that discipline of engineering. But I was lucky enough that I got my first pick at a 3.3 coming out of first year. So that was I did way too much.
It's insane though. Just I know with Eng students, I just had Matthew here, Matthew Yannick.
Yeah.
He's a graduate now, but compounding that with sports as well, like being a student athlete. How do you manage that? How do you have time to be able to pass the classes and to be able to perform, right? Because you would need to sacrifice one or the other, right?
Absolutely,
right,
yeah. In my first and second year actually. So also while COVID was going on, because that was
the dropout rate is insanely high too.
In the second year.
First and second, right?
Oh yeah. People get it, and they're like the pressure, and they crumble, right?
But you being in sports, that is just very impressive. So can you tell me as to like the mindset or the time management? What'd you do? It
was honestly just like a blur. Like I was kind of just like I wanted to do it, so I did. Right. It was like I had like no social life. My friends didn't see me, and like it was hilarious story. There was a point in time where I was texting like Coach Morris, he was the head coach of the Bears. I was with the Bears for the first 2 years, and it got to the point where I'm like, hey coach, can't come to practice tonight. I have a lab. Hey coach, can't come to practice tonight. Because ultimately like it's a school first thing. Of course. Right? Like school trumps, like I only have X amount of time to play football. I have the rest of my life to work. So you need to take school very, very seriously. That's why I don't skip class, like all that stuff. But when in first year, it was like bombarding my coach with like, hey, not going to be there. I got homework, not going to be there. And like I was already redshirt at the time because they redshirt all first year Eng students because they know the hell they're going through. Yeah. So I knew I wasn't going to dress. I knew it was like low stakes. And he got to the point where he's like, Simon, text me when you are coming to practice. Oh, right. Yeah. So I came to practice on like Mondays for install, so I knew the playbook, because you get new plays every week for different opponents, and then like the Wednesdays, like the actual like go day, like the green day, like full pads, right? And then I was there like Saturday mornings for walkthrough, and then the game. Like Thursdays for walkthrough, and then Friday or Saturday for the game, and it was like that was it. Like I was only like compared to where I was with the Huskies, which was the time commitment was a bit different. It was a bit more lenient. There's still like you still gotta be there like from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day.
How long were you with the Bears for?
2 years.
And then with the Huskies?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. So my third, fourth, and fifth year of school, I was with the Huskies, which is in the CJFL, which is the league, I guess, under U Sport. But there's an age cap, so I'm done with that league because I just turned 23. So you can't stay in a league, and there's no way I go back to play for the Bears because unless I want a long snap, then I just don't think it's worth it. I also only have like 1 more year of school left, so I just don't think my football career is going to continue. Although I'm like, it's weird because I always like strive to find something to do. Like I always feel like there's like a void if I don't have football or if I don't have something else. So I find it hard to take rest days because I'm so used to the crazy hectic being at the gym at 5, meetings at 6, and then on field at 7:30, and then practice until 9:30, and then you got post practice meetings breaking down like the stuff. Like it's just that was the regular day for me. Now I have so much free time. It feels like it's just like. It's nuts, especially with everything just slowing down for me, because I extended my degree too. That's how I ended up being able to play for the Huskies, because I didn't miss any practices there, because A, you get better at time management throughout your university degree, and B, I took less classes. Like I'm going to my 6th year, right, and in a degree that should only take 4 or 5.
But still though, you're an athlete. You're a student athlete, man.
But student athlete. I'm an athlete student.
You said you said you like the pressure.
I do.
That's just like what attracts you to it, when there's just so much amounting, but that sounds highly stressful.
It is.
Now what's so it sounds like it's more than just a sport to you, right? It's the pressure, it's like maybe the character development. And how has this kind of shaped into who you are today? The constant pressure, the sports, the time from going to here to that. How does that shape you into the person?
I'm definitely one that never backs down from anything. I'm definitely also one that knows how to be a leader and a follower. That's actually one of my like awesome interview question if you got there, right? But like, when can I be a leader? When can I be a follower? Because like coming out of high school, it was like quarterback, captain, right? Like I had the guys like rally with me, and it was like me and a close group of friends that everyone looked up to, and like we were the leaders, right? And having that responsibility as a QB on the team, like captain and all that, right? It's definitely like you don't shy away from that, but then having to switch your paradigm and go to a team where a lot of the people are like 24, 25 with the Bears, and be like kind of like the runt of it, and be like not there all the time, and just kind of no one really respects you, and like you're super like I develop like a lot of like underdog mentality, where it's a lot of like, oh, I gotta go get that, I gotta, and I think that's probably also why I stuck through engineering. Because it's hard and it beats on you, and you got this assignment due this week, I have something due tonight, I got something due next week, I got 2 papers tomorrow, not tomorrow, next Tuesday, I got
that's insane.
I know, but I'm good at time management now, so, but it's because it's like, bring it on, I'm here for it, when it rains it pours, let me just get wet more, like it's that's a weird saying, right? But like embrace it, like you're only doing this for so long,
of course,
why not? Like, it doesn't matter. Just if it sucks, it sucks. And
in that pressure, that is where you grow, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's a bit cheesy, but how are diamonds formed?
Yeah, heat and pressure, man. Heat
and pressure. Yeah. Under the pressure, that is where we get the growth.
Absolutely.
That's crazy inspiring, man. And I just ran into Callum Noonan, and we had a talk about just the difference between. It's all good. The difference between high school football or football before the university versus actual university. He's told me it's a different ball game. Right? It's different. Just the mindset, the people, and just the level of playing and commitments. It's just exponential. So can you tell me onto how you kind of adapted yourself to? Because he had told me that you're in this pond, right? When you're in high school or even in middle school, elementary, and for a lot of the guys that get into university football, they have always felt like the star of
the guy. Yeah, they're the guy. Right?
But then when you go to this new field, right? You're not just the guy anymore, and you had mentioned underdog, right? You're having to start from ground zero again. So how did you go about that? Because how did you go about going from being this underdog to actually, making a name for yourself?
Yeah, well, definitely not a linear progression for sure. Because I mean, I did get cut from the Bears. Like that was probably like one of the lowest points I've been, because I thought I was going to be there for my full university career, and then they're like, "Hey Simon, like there's a guy younger than you and better, so we're gonna let you go." Right. So that was probably like one of the lowest points.
But still, though, you're still in the 1%. Like
you
forget that.
And at the point, my dad was like, "Dude, you're one of the the top. Like you're one of the 5 best quarterbacks in that university, and there's only like X amount of universities, so you're like top 100 in Canada, playing QB for U of A." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I never played." He's like, "Yeah, but you're on the team. You were on the team.
Right.
Like being there like counts for something." Or even though I never played when I was there, I was just like there as developmental. But honestly, like the difference between like high school and uni is just everyone wants what one person has. Because in high school, I remember at ABJ we had like 30 players, right? So like if you're the guy at your position, there's no competition. It's just like it's just you, right? Versus like with the Bears, even with the Huskies, like when I was playing quarterback, there's only one Q on the field at once. So everyone behind you, and most teams keep 6 quarterbacks.
Wow.
I know, well, you need like 2 for scout team, 2 for running this, a backup, and a travel Q, right? And then you got your starter, right? Or something like that, right? But everyone wants to be the guy. Yeah. So it's like a like a bowl of piranhas, and like everyone's chomping at the bit just to like get an opportunity. And the opportunities come, and with more people there's less opportunity because you only get X amount of reps, so you really have to like show out, and in order for you to like supersede the guy, you got to be like miles ahead of him, because there's been times where like not me, but like in I've observed, we have a starter and he's like a 7 out of 10, he has his flaws, and we have another guy that's a bit more consistent, he might be 7.5 out of 10, right, quality wise, but we're not going to switch him because it's not enough, because the guys rally to this guy and they don't rally to the other guy, right? So it's definitely a bit of a different like mentality, because the way I got through it is that you just have to like almost beat your head against the wall and just grind, dude. Like just put your eyes down, nose to the grindstone, and just go. Like it's almost like a blind faith almost, where you kind of just work, and coaches are like, oh, just keep doing what you're doing, and then you just keep doing what you're doing, and then hopefully something changes. And and nothing changed for me, so I swapped from QB to wide receiver, and that's when things changed. But like that leap of faith was where it was just like me waking up thinking like, oh, okay, I'm still third, and I'm still third in the depth chart in my third year, and there's a guy younger than me. I don't want this to happen again where I get cut from the team. So there's one QB and there's 5 recs. So why am I not a receiver? Like, I'm big enough, fast enough, and strong enough. So I did it, and I was bad when I first started. But like in a full off season, 6 a.m.s, like all this work, and it was you get bet. I got better exponentially quick. I was working out with like some Kenny Lawler, Gavin Cobb, bunch of the CFL recs. And they were like, dude, you got something with you, and they're like, I'm like, can I go pro? And he's like, no, you can't. No, you can't. But no, they're like, yeah, dude, like you can definitely make like do something, shake something up, being a receiver. So went into my last year and just with that mentality and just do everything you can.
And at the same time, right, like you want to win the games, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's also, like you said, piranhas, right?
Yeah.
Where you want to be better than your teammates. Now, how do you adjust for that, right? Because you want your team to win.
Absolutely.
But you also don't want to be the guy just sitting on the bench the whole time, right? Now, how do you balance that?
Any good athlete is gonna, any confident athlete's gonna say, I'm better than that guy.
Yeah.
And that's honestly at this high of a level. Right. Everyone's good. It doesn't really matter who plays. It's just who has like this edge on the other guy, right? Like I'm bigger and I have really good hands, but I like the coaches wanted someone really, really fast, and I'm not that fast. So it's just like I had to wait for a certain personnel package to get in, but I knew I was going to get in, right? Because I was on the heavy team or whatever it was, as like a tight end receiver hybrid, right? Travis Kelce type stuff, right? But it's I guess when I was a quarterback, it was having that kind of like selflessness and this discipline, and knowing that, oh, like you have to say, oh, good pass, man, or like great shot, or like if someone scores, like you got to celebrate, because that's ultimately it's your teammate. And I've always, the whole reason why I stuck with the Huskies and I didn't go to the other team in Edmonton is because I could have, at least earlier on, I could have been at the other team and be fighting for a starting role in a position, but I would rather be on a winning team and have to play a little bit than be on a team that has a losing record and be like a part-time starter. And
you want to be surrounded by guys who have that victory mindset.
Yeah, right? Having like this, like I fight for him, right? Kind of fight for your brother, fight for the guy on your left, like whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely it's definitely more so, and having that, I'm gonna be honest. Like when I was first coming to the Huskies, I thought I was the shit. I thought I was like this. Oh, like because all the time people drop down from the Bears and they go to the Huskies, the Wildcats, and they're like, oh, I'm the shit, and they usually start because like they're good, right? And it wasn't the case with me just because we already had a really good Q and we already had like a really good backup. So I kind of got filtered in at third and fourth, and then there's opportunity for me to like there's an injury. And they took the other guy, not me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I had this like massive fit, and I got like super in my head about it. And I just like, but I wasn't mature like 2 or 3 years ago. Like I definitely wasn't like I didn't know that it wasn't like that big. They just took him because of the reasons I said, like why I have my own package on the team and why I'm not a fast guy. Like they wanted a guy that can run around at Q. They didn't want a guy that's just a pure pocket passer or like just like a Josh Allen type. They wanted a guy that like can run and make plays. So like it took me a year, almost now really, to realize like why I didn't do that. And like I had to blow steam when I got home. I vented to my mom, my dad, and they're like, that's BS, that's all. I'm like, yeah, I know it's bull, right? But like that just comes with the ups and downs of the sport. I've had so many ups and so many downs, and like that's just having the ability to realize like why things happen and the way that they happen was definitely like one of the biggest things I've taken away from football. Not only just like the connections you have, because like there's 100 whatever people on a team.
You've met so many guys.
Oh right? yeah, no, I have connections for days. You need part-time work, you go to this guy. You need this work, you need some illegal nicotine pouches, go to this guy. Right? Like it's
right.
nuts, man. Like there's so many dudes on the team of all different walks of life, and it really broadens your just life experience, because like everyone's going through their own thing. Everyone wants to do good, and just having everyone band together for one thing, even though there is like this interpersonal battles and piranhas that happen, but ultimately you're all on the same team. Yeah, some people might be like, oh, like I wish that was me, but ultimately like if you're winning, you're winning, and that brings the brothers together. Like it's so like I've always, not always, but in the past like 2-3 seasons I've always been like, hey, like so what if that guy's better than me? He's better than me they're playing him for a reason. I have my role, he has his role. His role's more valuable than mine, so he starts.
Right.
It's really like a mature mindset. Because again, like even like yeah, when I first got there, I was like, it should be me.
And you've grown so much, man.
Yeah, I
guess all the connections
so.
You've made.
Yeah.
Like under pressure.
Yeah.
And you're still continuing to learn every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you share your favorite play of all time?
Favorite play all time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Out of all the years, even including high school, if that's one of the plays.
No, it'd probably be grade 12 high school. Favorite play. Jeez, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah. Or top 3. We can do top 3. I'm sure you got some in mind.
Sure. It's not a good play, but
good story.
But it's a fantastic story. So
sure.
So it's the first game of the grade 12 season. We're playing Leduc, and we have a certain play called, and it's a post to Callum. My strong side slot, my weak side slot over the middle, and they line up in cover 3, so there's 3 deep guys, and Mikey, our OC at the time, was like, hey, if they line up in cover 3, you see deep safety, don't throw the post. And I'm like, well, screw you, I'll throw what I want, right? So the reason why I shouldn't have thrown the post is because if you think about it, there's a guy coming from the right side, going 10 yards upfield, and then angling in at like a skinny 30 degrees, right toward the guy in the middle, right? And Callum's like, he looks at me before the play, and he's like, I swear to God, if you throw this to me. And I'm like, I don't care, you're good, go get the ball.
Get after it.
Get the ball, right? So, anyways, I bring it up with him. I have like the video, and you can hear, you can hear, because in football, everyone yells, no, in like the crowd, or I guess like the defense, like we're supposed to yell pass when you notice it's a pass, and then ball when the ball's in the air.
Right.
So the way this works is I get the ball and you hear pass, and I throw it, you hear ball, and you hear, and Callum just gets depleted, ball on the ground. Callum's concussed.
Oh no!
This free safety just lit him up. Right, dude. He was out for a week after that. But that was
that's a good one.
And I bring it up every single time I have the chance. Where like he starts acting because I see him every other week, right? So he starts acting kind of weird, and I'm like, are you concussed? And he's like, probably. I'm like,
for that
he's like, shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Leduc. I don't want to talk about Leduc.
No, not the Leduc.
Don't want to talk about Leduc, right? But yeah, no, that was probably the most memorable play.
Dude,
where
that's
I remember throwing it too, and I'm like, oh shit. Right, and then I see him on the ground, and I'm like, that's my fault, isn't it? That's kind of my fault. Hey, bud. He's like, and he gets up, and he's like, I'm concussed. I'm like, I know you are. Yeah. He's like, that's your fault. I'm like, yeah, I know. I owe you a Slurpee or a cheeseburger or something.
Are there any other stories?
Oh, just not really any like plays, but I guess like the feeling of playing in Commonwealth.
Oh, dude, that.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. Yeah. You get like a full like walkout and all that stuff, and I remember like having, because when you're in Commonwealth, like where the Elks play, or like even for like a concert, like it's big. There's like 71,000.
Yeah, whatever it is. Some stages there.
It's massive, right? So like you get in there and like you like from the sideline, or I guess from the stands, it's like not like you're like, oh, there's no field. But when you're standing at the 50, and like you're looking up at both sides, you see these massive just like things topple over onto you, and you're like, holy crap, this thing is huge, right? And then like the gravity of the situation where you're playing against like an unbeaten team as the underdog, very correlated to my other football career, but like unbeaten team that we got pumped by earlier in this. Yeah, it was like 43 to 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first game we played them was like 43 to 3 to Satchis. So and then we go undefeated other than that game, and then we beat O'Leary in semis, and then we go to Commonwealth to play Satchis, the team that beat the brakes off us. We win like 23-14 or like 24-17 or whatever it is, and like just having the realization that like, hey, like we did this, I did this, because like the Scots also won Div 3 when I was in grade 10, but I was like a backup, and I didn't see the field since like week 4, right? I was like a third string high school QB, like not good at all. And then going from that and having that feeling of winning, where it's like, oh, I'm on the team, it's not really like my win, to grade 11 where we went like over, we didn't win a game in grade 11, and then grade 12 where it's like, oh, we win every game, get pummeled for one game because I went like 7 for like 35. It was like not good. Oh,
it must have been.
Oh, dude, my head coach, the engineer, Coach Frank, he was so mad at me. I'm gonna swear a little bit here, but he, so caution to the wind, right? But I threw like three picks that game, 3 interceptions, and on the third one he's like, Simon, you look tight. Get a fucking blowjob or take a shot or something. And it's like third quarter, and I'm like,
loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, loosen up, man. I'm like,
we're just like really nervous.
Yeah, no. I was just in my head. It was just like once, because like it was the first time that season that we actually had like a challenge, like some adversity, and they scored quick, and they took they took the opening kickoff for like a touchdown, and then our running back fumbled right away. It was a rain game too, so I couldn't hold on to the ball, right? It was just nothing going our way. All like we had like some really costly penalties. We missed like 2 field goals. It didn't matter. It was like 43-3, right? But it was just not the game it should have been. And then having that kind of like chip on our shoulder where we're like, oh, like we're not invincible, was probably the best thing for us, because we saw that team again and we beat them in city finals. And I had like a really good game. I went like 17 of 24 for like two something, 2 tugs. It was nice. It was good. I probably had half my rushing yards for the season in that game. Yeah, like 10 yards. I only rushed like 5 times, right? But yeah, no, it was good. That was probably like one of the coolest feelings, where it's like, holy, like I can do this. Like
I can come back.
Yeah,
I can go from this person that's just in my head to crushing that, and then just coming back, being that underdog, and then seeing what that's like, and then also being on top and seeing what that's like.
Yeah, no,
right?
Because I've been on the bottom with that 0-8 year, and I've been on the top with that grade 12, and I've been a starter, and I've been a second string, I've been red shirt, I've been all over for football. So
yeah, there's probably like, I've just had Bryce Bowen on, and he's the captain of the Augustana volleyball team. And he says that a lot of it is the psychology of it, right? It's a mind game
100%.
For a lot of it. Like a lot of it's like physical. Sure, you need to hit the gym. He needs to be able to get a good diet, good sleep, but it's that self-talk, right? So what do you say on the days where you do feel anxious? You do feel you're struggling, and you're getting the other team getting into your head.
Yeah.
How do you bounce back from that? And then can you take me to did you kind of know that you're in it before you're actually kind of it's too late? Like
so I guess the first part of that is like, how do I deal with it? And there's like this adage as a QB, like it's have a short-term memory, right? Where you don't remember the last play if it's good or not, right?
Just wipe the slate clean.
Always. Like I went to a sports psychologist, and he was all about like he was a hockey guy, and he was like, keep the flashlight on the tip of your nose, and what that means is that only illuminate the things that are right in front of you. A lot of the times he was a hockey guy, right? So he would like say like, oh, never tell a goalie he's about to like pitch a shutout or he's about to have a shutout, because then he's gonna look up at the board and let a puck through, right? Like it's like, oh, never tell a goalie there's a minute left because he's gonna look at the board and put a puck through, right? Just having your flashlight leave, and like flashlight is like your focus. Having your focus leave what's right in front of you and go somewhere else. That's like not where your brain needs to be, not where you need to be mentally to play the sport. And it's just kind of like just kind of having a super, short-term memory, I guess.
So you don't look at, sure you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? But overthinking that and replaying that over in your head's not going to solve it again, right?
And it's hard to forget that. It's like, it's so hard.
Because when you make a mistake, right, that negativity is so much power. It doesn't matter how many times you've succeeded beforehand. That negative moment, it's all you can focus on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so when he says like illuminate with that flashlight, or just focus on what's in front of you. Because so many people like they live in the past, right? And this extends on to just
life in general.
Right?
And that's another thing that you take from football. It's like there's so many things you learn that are applicable to like everything else you do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from being in the sport industry for so long?
Oh, don't take anything granted, for sure. There are so many things that you take granted when you have it. Like being a starter, or like having the ability to have free time, or like stuff like this. Like it's don't take anything for granted. That is for sure the biggest thing I've taken away, and it kind of goes into like being in a slump, because there was right before I swapped to probably the beginning of the season where I swapped to receiver. I was still quarterback, and I swapped midway through. And I went up to my quarterback coach, and I'm like, hey, coach, I'm in a really big rut right now. Like, I don't know what to do. I can't find my stroke. I don't know. I'm lacking confidence. I don't know what to do. Like, tell me what to do. Like, this is a mental thing. I know it's mental. I know I can do it, but I'm missing guys wide open. I'm not confident. I'm overhyping myself when I do get a rep, because I want it so bad, because and I try too hard, and I try and force a big play, and I don't take the easy stuff, and I'm making it super hard on myself. And he's like, Simon, the best thing that you can do is just, when it rains, it pours. So let it rain.
Accept it.
Yeah, and he's like, and it's a really weird thing to think that you're kind of accepting defeat, accepting failure. And because a lot of my mental is like, no, like we underdog, like no, we rise up against it, we take that stress, but you also gotta like know that a part of that pushing the stress away is also accepting and internalizing it, and being like, okay, what is wrong with me? Why is this going on? Why am I so stressed about this? What is this going on? So having the ability to internalize emotion and internalize feeling, and kind of have that ability to look within myself and have those thoughts are something that I also take away from football. Because even like I'll have a bad day, right? And I'll fail an exam or have something, and I'll be like, okay, today was a really bad day, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just take a really cold shower. I'm gonna hate it.
I love the cold showers.
I hate them. I hate them so much.
That's why you love them, though.
But no, I hate them all the time.
But after, don't you? The cold shower feeling, right? Where after you're like, you're like, God, that's over.
Yeah, or like an ice bath or something like that. I don't have an ice bath at home, but I need to get one. But it's definitely like the cold shower feeling, where like you're like, you know what, this day can't get any worse. Let me just take a cold shower and make it worse. Right? Let me do all my homework right now and just make it worse, because the day is already bad. Right? And it ends up turning into a really productive day, because your mental might be kind of shit and kind of shot and kind of just not where it needs to be, but you got a crap ton of stuff done. Right? So it's kind of like, that's how it kind of rolls into like everyday life where it's like when it rains it pours, bring it on, let me take a cold shower and just.
And there's this like saying where too much sunshine creates a desert, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say your days are good all the time.
Yeah.
It is just that's unrealistic. It can actually result in your dissatisfaction and pain if every day was a good day. So when it rains, it pours. Or when you accept those bad days and you actually just add meaning to them, so that you can look back and appreciate just how down you were. And now when you're at a normal baseline, when you're at your baseline, right, you can actually look back in retrospect and be like, okay, I was there, failed that exam, or just like had a bad interaction with a friend, family member, didn't have a good lift, or maybe you're injured, and you still bounce back from that, right? And it's the ability of kind of you get hit and you get knocked down, but it's how many do you get back up, or do you just let life take you, right? Do you just let it happen? But then there seems to be a common theme with everything that you do is you like to go under pressure. You like to go, you choose the hardest program. You go for football. There's a lot of risk there. The cold showers, the lifts, right? Yeah. And kind of with school though, I want to talk more about how did it feel like when you failed exams, and like how kind of the studying regime, because I'm sure physical activity, like being on the field, like sure that's hard in itself, but also sitting down to study, man.
No, terrible.
That's another strength.
I have a TikTok brain for sure. I
can't sit down for long. Me too, man. Everyone does. Yeah. So how does one succeed in engineering, right?
Yeah, I mean it's everyone tells you that eng gets easier as you go, but you just get better at doing eng. It's hard all the way through. Definitely extending my degree and lightening the course load helped, because then I'm taking a regular course load. I'm taking like 4 classes and 2 labs versus the hectic 5 and 3.
It's insane.
Don't ever want to do that again. I have a 5 and 1 coming up next semester, so that'll be so fun, right?
You'll be fine. The time management, and every year you seem to have been able to consolidate everything that you've seen and learned and all the experiences.
Yeah, but it's definitely like I like to do like a micro study kind of thing where I'll because my brain likes I like to latch onto things. So I'll end up like hyper focusing on this like one thing. And like once I start it, I can't stop it. So I like to set timers and stuff, because when I start an assignment, I won't stop until I'm done that assignment. But then I'm gonna be sitting at my desk for like 7 hours, right? Like it's like, but it's good because I can get it done. But what I've noticed is more productive for me is if I use those 7 hours and I flip flop between different assignments, and I'll be like, okay, now I'm working on this civil assignment. Now I'm working on my carbon assignment. Now I'm working on my dirt assignment. Like now, like it's just like this, and this, and it honestly it keeps it fresh. It keeps you up. Like it keeps your kind of, because like it's so easy in school for anyone in university to just like get into the drag and kind of like get down there and just feel like there's like this pressure on you and have this kind of like, oh, I got this done, and I gotta get this, and I gotta get this, and I gotta... But, like, honestly, it's just, like, having the ability to, like, quickly change gears between, like, A, B, and C has been, like, one of the best things that I can recommend for anyone to do for
just novelty to keep it interesting for you.
Yeah, honestly, because, and it's also good, because then, like, you could be having class A 2 days ago, but then the assignment's due in, like, 7 days, so you won't do that assignment until, like, the day before, but then the material you learned was 7 days ago, so you're like, well, what am I trying to learn here? You can go back to your notes, but it takes more time. So it's definitely like I used to work on a due today kind of thing, where that was really bad. That was not a fun time, because I would put off things, and if it was due today, I would do it that day, right? It was it was just not a good idea. My GPA tanked, and it was but it was again structure.
You got through it though.
You get through it. I mean, I had a 1.8 that year, but like it definitely wasn't good. Like it was crazy good. I went from like a 3.3, and then COVID year hit, so it was just like credit on credit, and then I got into Envy, and then it was all classes online, and I had like a 2.2 and then like a 1.8. And it was just like not where I needed to be. So 1.7 is an academic what is it?
Academic like scrutiny sort of.
Yeah, no. If you have a 1.7, you need to pump your GPA up to a certain threshold in order to stay in the program. At least for engineering, I don't know if it's different for everyone else.
I think it's different for every program.
But for Eng, it's a C-. If you have an average of C-, you can get kicked out if you don't get a B next semester, an average of B. So you need like a 2.7 or a 3. So I was really, really lucky that I did just enough for me to get that 1.8 and not be on academic probation.
That's what
it's called, right? And I kind of just you know what, this isn't what I don't want to be a C's get degree student, so I just brought my GPA up.
But even then, an Eng degree, a lot of people that I've talked to that have graduated and have that degree, they end up finding jobs. It's one of the one degree where it actually is very useful.
Yeah, it's funny because the stuff that I want to do, I'm probably gonna need my master's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, being consulting or something like that. Unless you have 10 years of experience as a PEng, I'm probably gonna need my MN or my MSc.
You'll find the way. There's a way.
It's weird because I'm such deep into school, and I'm realizing that I hate the act of school.
Me too. Bro,
it's just not.
You gotta fun. Get through it.
Yeah.
We talked about setbacks, and we talked about prior to this, the injury, and I've seen you at the gym, with that big cast on, and I've seen you on TikTok, the big brace, and let's talk about injury. So how did you come about that injury, and how did you approach that?
Yeah, so for those that are listening and don't know, I tore my MCL, my MPFL, and I had an extruded meniscus along with a grade 1 ACL and some weird medial ranunculum. I don't even know. There's MRI reports are crazy. You try and read them and what the, right? But a bunch of stuff. Anyways,
you seem to have looked at it thoroughly though.
Fully snapped my MCL, fully snapped my MPFL, and I got surgery a month after that, which was really quick, right? But I tore it all in September, and I got surgery in October, and now we are almost 6 months out. So,
wow.
You want full story on how I tore it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was in practice, of all places.
Of all places.
I know.
Practice,
right?
bro.
Yeah, and it was how I told you that I was in some personnel packages and stuff. This was the week that we were gonna put that in, and we're gonna start the game with it. So it was we were. It was after the bye week, after we played the Wildcats, and we were going down to Calgary to play the Colts. And the Calgary turf there is just a really, really nice turf, and it's probably one of my favorites to be at, just because there's at the time it's September, the trees are starting to, late September, trees are starting to change, just orange everywhere. It's really, really nice. I look at the depth chart for that day, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Why am I starting, right? And why is my person that's supposed to start playing wide receiver for the day? And then I go up to my coach, and he's like, we just want to see if you can gel with the first strings, see if you can, really hang, basically. And then that's really all I got. And then I went to my old QB coach, because I was playing receiver at the time. I went to my old coach and was like, hey, because he's still on the team, right? Just different position, right? I went to him, and he's like, hey, really rooting for you today. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, yeah. So and then eventually he just told me hey, if you can prove that you can hang, we're gonna take you to Calgary, because you only have 42 players or 46, I forget the number, but you can only take 46 players on away games, and 54 or 56, 52, whatever, on home games. So there's a bunch of people that get left to go to the away game, even on a team of 95. Or a 90-man roster. So half the team already doesn't dress, and then on away games another 10 or 12 players, or 10 or 8 players can go. So anyways, practice starts. I make a couple plays. Everything goes well. Shin splints are absolutely splinting because I have really bad shin splints.
Right.
It's perks of being a heavy football player. We love that. I use my weight.
Right.
Solid 210 running around. Not fun.
210, man. Each step, you gotta be making some dents on the ground.
No, I was feeling real good about myself at that time. But yeah, and then we get to and it's the day of the week where we go full pads, because you have your bobblehead, which is just helmets, and your half rack, which is helmets and shoulder pads, and then you get your full pad, which is helmets, shoulder pads, girdle, knee pads, everything, right? Your full pads. So it's our full pad practice, which means there's gonna be hitting. And not all of it's hitting. There's we call them green periods and yellow periods. So yellow is just thud, and green would be to the ground, all the way. full football. Anyways, and then there's a get through the first period, second period, buster, skelly, all this stuff. And we get to a tackling drill, and the drill was there's a dude behind you, and then a dude in front of you, 5 yards by 5 yards to your right. Or at least we did it both ways, but the way I hurt myself was to the right. And the reason we did this is because a lot of the receivers with the ball, they'll slow down to make the guy in front of them miss and then get caught from behind. So what we're supposed to do is run full speed, not get caught by the guy behind you while making the guy in front of you miss, so it's a 2-on-1. And me being the bigger guy, I'm slow. I got held up by my waist by the guy behind me, and then the guy in front of me just kind of put his helmet in my knee, and there you go. Yeah, so...
Jeez, man.
Yeah, so immediately I went down on the ground screaming bloody murder.
You knew. Like,
I knew something was wrong because it was like this really hot pain, and also my kneecap was on the side of my leg.
Oh,
because your MPFL connects your patella to your femur on the inside, on the medial side.
Yeah.
So that was fully snapped along my MCL. So my knee, for you like medical students, went into valgus, like full valgus, and then it was just...
What is valgus?
When your right leg is hit from the outside, and it caves in toward your middle line. So kind of like that.
Wow,
I don't know if you can really see it like that.
That sounds just excruciating.
Yeah, so, and then I kind of sit there and trainer, someone get the trainer, right? And I'm freaking biting down on my jersey and all this crap. And I kind of sit there and I kind of, I immediately know there's so many thoughts that go through your head. And I kind of knew it was some soft tissue because I know the pain.
That's tough.
That I know it's supposed to be like a hot radiating gunshot kind of pain, and then it goes away. So in 3 minutes it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was gone. And
that's freaky, man.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting there and I have my kneecap on the side of my leg, and they're like, well, we can't put it in for you.
Yeah.
And the longer you have it out, the harder it is to get in because all the swelling is going to start immediately. So I'm like, okay, someone get me a stick.
Yeah.
But I ended up biting down on my jersey. I put my headband over because my helmet was off. I put my headband over my eyes and I just kind of bit down, and then I peeped through as I straightened my leg, and as I straightened my leg, my kneecap kind of ticked in like a clock, and it went and then popped right back in, and it kind of felt like soft Velcro on soft Velcro. Like, you know when you rub like two pieces of Velcro together?
Yeah.
But it's both the soft sides.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of what it. That's kind of. That's the closest you could describe it. So, jeez, yeah, and then 2 days later, got an X-ray to make sure nothing was broken. Nothing was broken, thank goodness, because then I would have been immobilized in a straight splint. So that was good. And then immediately started with a leg brace, big bulky knee brace, one of those athletic ones, and then didn't stop wearing a knee brace until I got surgery, because after my MRI, it was just like, yeah, you need surgery. You fully got it. So cut me open, got some pretty nice scars, some meniscus portholes, and some MCL big cut on the inside, 2 nice 3 inches. Those are big.
Yeah.
3 inches is a lot, man. And then wake up in a brace, and wasn't allowed to take the brace off even for sleeping for the next I don't know, until I got the dressing cleaned, and then, they're like, okay, you can only take it off when you're sitting down, but me being paranoid, because the doctor was like, you need to be religious about wearing this brace. Like, if you take a step without it, you could rupture your MCL again. So
yeah. Did you take physio at all, or?
Yeah, no, it was immediately after you start physio. It was within 2 weeks. I had my first appointment, I think 10 days after, and it was just all right, let's see if you can move your knee.
Yeah.
Right, and then it was weird because once you get out of it, the amount of muscle you lose by not using a limb is insane.
Yeah.
I look like a chicken leg.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, my left leg was nice and big still, and my right leg was the size of my arm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, it was half the size. It was insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was on crutches for a month. And then I was on one crutch for another 2 weeks, and then weaning off that one crutch for another 2 weeks, so 2 months on crutches. And then I was in the brace all the way until 3 months post-op, so 4 months total. and I was weaning off the brace from 4 to 5 months. It only took me like 2 weeks to wean off the brace, so 4.5 months post-op, and then now we're a month later now. We're about 5 months and 3 weeks, and now I'm starting to jump. I can squat 220. Nice. I can squat 225 again.
Hell yeah.
I can kind of run, Stopping is harder than running, which is really funny. I was at physio yesterday actually, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do some falling starts?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So you get into a sprinting stand. You stand up straight and you fall forward and then you catch yourself and you run. And they're like, "Okay, let's go a bit more," because I was kind of dogging it because I'm kind of scared. Just to use my knee.
You don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I don't want it to happen again. And they're assuring me like, "Dude, you're 6 months. We're easing you into it. If anything's gonna happen, it's gonna be because your quad doesn't fire. Because I still have issues with my quad and my hamstring on that side. So it's just make sure you like really cycle your heel. Make sure you get through, drive your knee, knee up, toe up, thigh up, all that running stuff. And then I go and I give like 3 big hard strides. It feels great. It was awesome. And then they're like, and I forget how to stop a little bit. Yeah. Because like the amount of effort it takes to like break down, like effectively, like within like 5 yards after going like full bore for like the first time ever, you forget. Right, so I almost ran into the wall, and that would have been a fun time. But yeah, no, it was really cool. Like that was the first time running like full sprint yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's not coming a long way.
Yeah, and I still can't golf, which is stupid. But
oh man, almost there though. Almost.
1 week, one week until I can start working on rotation.
I'm sure that injury, it must have been a tough mental battle too, right? Because you're not able to play a sport that you've played pretty much your entire life. Yeah. Right, you said since grade 6, right?
Yeah. Well, more might have been grade 5 actually. Right, I don't know, but more. I've been alive. Sorry, I've been playing that sport for longer than half my life.
Wow.
So.
All right. So, can you tell me about the kind of the mental struggle associated with not being able to actualize all the playing time, right? And kind of just maybe beating down on yourself, right? Because why, out of all the people, why me? Why that day? And all the regrets and just the fears. Can you tell me about?
I always try and look for meaning in things. I think that's a good. I think that most things happen for a reason. Still don't know why this thing happened to me. Yeah. That's just something that I wish I did know, but honestly, it doesn't matter why it happened. It happened.
Yeah.
So. The mental behind it was first of all like denial, honestly, like being like, okay, like this can't be real. This is.
I'm sure you had to go through grief.
Yeah, right? Honestly, like it was like, okay, why, what? No, this can't be right. And then like immediately like, I knew my football career was over. Like as soon as like
happened?
not as soon as it happened, but as soon as they told me like because when you're there sitting like once you tear it and you're there in the locker room and they bring the doctor, they give you a pain med. And then they start like yanking on your knee, like see if your ACL and your MCL, like your PCL and all this stuff, right? And they're like, yeah, you have some laxity in your ACL, you have some laxity in your MCL. And you're like, oh god, this is like a 9-month recovery thing. And like even now, like I still don't feel confident. Like I can't bend my knee all the way, and like I ride a motorcycle and I can't fit on it right now, and it's just like it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. But the mental behind it is almost a little bit of like, okay, like I have to go through the fire. Yeah. Because my dad had both his ACLs done, and he was fine. He's cool. He's walking around.
He's a successful guy.
Yeah, he
raised you pretty well.
I hope so. But
right.
But yeah, no, and he's like, yeah, dude, like it's just everyone either gets a hip or a knee. You got a knee, you got it pretty early. So
good.
Get it over with. Have fun with it, and don't go through don't blast through all your opioids too quick.
Yeah, don't get addicted.
No. Yeah. Dude, Portal is a wonderful drug. I got 2 left. You want?
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah, take them.
$100. No, I'm kidding.
They call me Addy. You know me, back in high school. But yeah, dude, that's intense, man. And I can't imagine just like hearing that news initially, going, oh man, this is who made me me, right? With football, and it's just. That's crazy.
When I first was told that like, hey, you're probably not gonna play football again, like I kind of knew, like it was kind of like old news at the point when they were like, hey, you're not gonna play football again. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it was weird because I immediately found myself looking for other things. I immediately found myself like falling in love with the gym again and using that to replace the time and thinking like, okay, well, I used to do Taekwondo as a kid. I used to wrestle nationally in high school. Like, what if I do MMA?
Right. You could.
I know I could, but
Bro, I'd watch you, man.
Yeah, but it was
some guys up.
It was more so of me just like having this kind of trauma response, being like, okay, what am I gonna do? Because like I need to do something, like, other than just lift. I need to do competitive something. Right. So it was like, tell my parents, like, this is like 2 days after the tear. Like, oh, I'm gonna be an MMA fighter. Oh, I'm gonna box. Oh, I'm gonna do Muay Thai. Oh, I'm gonna try and go pro in pickleball. Like, I don't know, right? But like, it got to the point where it was like every other hour, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Like, it was just me just spiraling, just not really like thinking, and just kind of just like, oh, like I need this. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I just knew it wasn't gonna be football.
But then again, you have reached, like, you're in the 1%, man. In some, you probably forgot that at the time.
Yeah,
right? Because
you just
honestly, hyperfixate on the negativity and like what happened to you. And
absolutely.
Yeah. If you could go back, would you change?
Would I change that?
Yeah.
Well, I think of course I probably would, because that way I would be able to play. And I've thought about it so many times where I'm like, oh, what would happen if I didn't get hurt? Would I have played? Could I have scored a touchdown? Could I have done all this? Where would I be now? Could I have gone on that hiking trip? Could I still fit on my motorcycle? Like, all this stuff, right? But it's ultimately, like, you have those thoughts, and then you're like, but that's not real.
Yeah, I get those thoughts all the time too, where it's like, what if this had happened? What if this didn't happen? What if that happened? What if I should have done this better? But then it's just like, no, that's not reality.
Ready for this callback? But where's your flashlight?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Where's your flashlight?
In front of you.
So that's, again, like, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's taught me patience. Because just having to, I'm pretty normally like a pretty high strung kind of, like, I gotta go kind of guy. I like knowing when things happen.
You always want to get after it, man.
Yeah, no, I like, but even then, like, I kind of micromanage myself a little bit. It's maybe a little bit of the like Tourette's and stuff like that, but I definitely like bring myself to a super high standard and like all that. But I didn't really have patience. Like, I was like, I need to do this now. I need to do this now. I need to do this now. And like, there's no my way, right? And then having the injury and tearing my knee up and having surgery and having to be like, okay, you're gonna be on crutches for a month.
Yeah.
And then it was a month later, and they're like, okay, now we can start weaning you off crutches. Like, in my head, I'm just gonna throw them away, right? And then they're like, yeah, no, you're off crutches, but you still have to be on one crutch 20% of the time, and you're on two crutches for 80% of the time for the first week. And then we flip those numbers, and then you're on one crutch for 2 weeks, and then, that's it. So it was actually like double the time on crutches than I was expecting. And it was definitely just like my parents, as a kid, they call it working your patience muscles.
Yeah.
So it was I definitely had like the ability to work on my patience muscles, and it's just
definitely go on.
I'm just kind of rambling, but
definitely with a lot of like life, right? Just like sometimes it's like for people like you. You're always getting after it, and you're always just wanting to fill up your schedule, but like patience is such a big lesson to acquire. It's a virtue, just like, because you're not gonna get everything you want, right? I think that I've learned that pretty well too, and just from every day I see that you're not gonna get what you expect. Sometimes life can throw curveballs at you. You're not just gonna accomplish all these things that you sought out, and it's accepting these things and like creating a solution instead of just dwelling in the past.
Right.
And then you said something about not taking anything for granted. Like while you were in the field, right? Like, did you truly revel in it 100%? Because chances are you're probably like worrying about other things too at the time, right? And right now, as we speak, for me, I'm worried about certain things too. And I look back onto like 3-4 years ago, I was worrying about like certain things too that now I think about and I go,
didn't matter.
It's dumb. Like, it didn't matter. Why did I place so much of my individuality about who I am based on that when now I've not even noticed myself thinking about it, and I got through these things, right? So I think like you said, everything, most reasons happen for a reason. I think that this injury, man, I think it's just setting you up, you know, for something.
I don't know
something. Why, you eventually look back and you realize that, oh, that's why this happened. Right. And then, oh, that's why it happened.
Probably. Who knows though?
But yeah, dude. So what's in store for you now? You said you want to find something. I know 6 months, I guess, isn't that much time.
I mean,
like the gym. I know I've been seeing you at the gym a lot. What's that like?
Gym's fine. I'm kind of using it as just like a place to blow off steam.
Right.
Me and my mom will go together on Sundays, but I find it hard to take rest days.
Yeah, dude.
There's a bit where I had like a lot of assignments due, and I had to take 2 days off in a row, and I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my god, it's getting 2 days off. What is this? I can't, because like, I can't. I need to do my bike every day, and I need to. Like, oh, my side delts are gonna be so small. They already are, but like I'm gonna be so tiny, right? And then my dad's like, shut up. And I'm like, why? He's like, most people work out twice a week, let alone 7 days. Simon, just calm down. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, I feel that.
You're right. You're right. But yeah, no, it was to the point where I was like, as soon as I could stand up and like move weight around. It was just like, okay, guess I'm doing chest back. Like it was just like chest back, shoulders, chest. Like it was just like that's all it was.
That's great.
And there'd be times where I would do my physio at Millennium Place, and then I would immediately after like 2 hours of physio work, go hit arms. Just because I'm like, oh, that doesn't count, right? Physio doesn't count.
Physio is just like
physio's a rest day.
Yeah,
exactly. Legs is a rest day.
Mobility day. Does that even?
Mobility day. It's a rest day. Yeah, but he was that point where I was spending like 3-4 hours a day in the gym. Well, days that I had physio would be like 3 hours a day, and it was setting me back on school a little bit. And then I'm lucky that this semester is the lightest semester I've ever had in my entire life.
That's great.
I have 4 classes. One of them's online at 6 p.m. Ugh, gross, right? But so I only have like 1 class on Tuesday, Thursday, and then 2 that are beautifully spaced, 3 hours apart. 8 and noon on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I get a lot of my work done at the uni. Like I'm very lucky to have the schedule that I have right now. And especially in engineering, because that doesn't happen. But that's what happens when you extend your degree.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's good. I mean, you're gonna finish anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish in a year.
Doesn't matter how early or how late you're gonna finish, and like learn all these things and. Very inspiring story, man, and I think this is just the beginning, right? We're still young.
Yeah.
And I see that you are a person of great character, and you're a person who is resilient, who really stays the path, right? No matter how difficult, no matter how hard things get.
I appreciate that.
Where do you get your strength, like mind and body, or do you also take into spirituality into account? Like how do you have that amount of energy to keep going despite this setback, despite like all the things that plague your mind? Because it seems like a lot of it's a mental battle and a lot of it's physical battle too.
Yeah.
Where do you gain your strength?
A lot of it would be just me being stubborn and just not knowing better than to just do it.
You won't take no for an answer.
Yeah, honestly, where it's just like, I guess I have to do an all-nighter. And my mom's like, what, you're doing another all-nighter? I'm like, I kind of have to.
Yeah.
It's just it's just what I got to do to get it done.
Pull off a lot of all-nighters?
Not this semester, but in first year and in second year. COVID year was bad because like you would go on your phone during class behind a screen and you'd just be chilling, and then you realize that you missed all the lecture, and then
what's going on?
Yeah, and then you don't have anyone to like work with. This is just you, so you're like on a group chat with people you've never met. You're like, I don't have answers for like this one, and they're like, no, I thought you had answers. Yeah, so then everyone's up at like 2 a.m. trying to do school. So I definitely had my fair share of that, but that's kind of just where it stems from. And then when I do really get low, my last year of football, so I guess like a couple months ago, right? But I finally started getting back into Christianity. And there was a quick little trick that the team chaplain gave me, and it was kind of like just over and over in your head whenever things are tough. Just say, "Dear Heavenly Father, please give me strength."
That's what I said. I just finished 100K 4 or 5 months ago, and that's what I kept saying myself.
Yeah.
God give me strength. God give me strength. And for some reason, I can't quite explain it, because I'm the same. I've just gone back into Christianity a couple of years back, and things start to feel a lot better. I can't quite explain it, and I used to be like atheist. I used to be like, oh, give me the facts, logic. But then there's some things I just can't explain, right?
It stems a lot from that, and by no means am I like a practicing
of course
Catholic or anything like that. But my parents always baptized. My parents raised me to go to Easter church and Christmas, and whenever I go see my nonna, I take her to church. I haven't done that in a long time, but
this is a sign, man. You take your nonna.
Yeah, she'd probably really enjoy that.
Yeah.
I call her all the time, and she's like, Nini, when are you gonna come see me? And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of busy right now. She's like, I have something for you, but you have to come. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, sounds good. See you, nonna.
Sure. I heard with the Italians, they like to feed. They like to overindulge the.
Oh yeah, half my weight gain post surgery. Just finish it, Nini. I don't want any leftovers. Just finish it. Just finish it for me. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks Nona. Yeah. Really appreciate that. As I'm like walking out like a round ball.
And then the last question.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who wants to make being an athlete and academics work?
Student athlete? Yeah. Embrace the grind. It's something you can't avoid. You can't just do one. You need to do both. Because ultimately I had the here's a cool story. I had in engineering, I'm in a co-op, so you work for 8 months or 4 months instead of going to school for a semester. That's why my original degree is not 4, it's 5, and then I extended again to play football. So my first ever co-op was going to be 8 months from May to December, and I had an interview with a company called Altera. And the interviewers were hockey guys, and they were both playing hockey in university, and they both quit hockey to pursue a job, and they ended up getting a job at Altera, and they're paid very nicely. But they figured out that I play football, and they ultimately told me that, like, hey, don't give that up for this, because they both gave up hockey, and they said it was the worst decision they've ever made to quit that early. Squeeze every single little connection and little thing, anything you can out of the sport that you play. Doesn't matter if it's football, hockey, volleyball, lacrosse, ringette, like doesn't matter. Badminton does not matter. Anything that you do, squeeze every little thing out of it, and you will be satisfied. Doesn't matter how good you are, how far you take it. Just take it to the full of your ability. Like I did. I went till I literally couldn't run no more.
Yeah, right. You immerse yourself in that energy
and just really enjoy it, because there is no other place in the world that you will ever be again that you can have that experience of 100 guys hand to hand, all dressed up in your funky uniform, looking like chickens, right? But like all dressed up and knowing that you're all there for the same cause, because like there's no other place like it. Relish in it, take it in. I've cried too many times to the anthem, but really take it in and do it. And if you're scared to start, then just find something that you're semi good at, and just bug coaches, man. Like coming out of high school, I didn't really need to bug coaches, because my dad had connections through a bunch of like different coaches, so I was actually supposed to go to the Huskies right away. But then there was a guy that tore his knee up, that tore his knee up at the Bears, so I didn't even go to the Huskies. I went straight to the Bears, which I wasn't supposed to do, but I ended up staying there for 2 years, and then after 2 I got cut and I went back to the Huskies. So it was just use your connections, bug every single person, because you never know what's going to happen in that sport. I've made lifelong friends in playing football. It is like insane. I see the captain group in that was with me in high school like every other weekend. It is just the connections you make, the friends you make, the experiences you have. It is all worth it. It's all worth the 5 hours every day.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming on the show, Long Term Podcast.
My pleasure.
Definitely, bro. There's those crazy stories, man, and it's incredible to see you. You know, I used to see us in. It seems like just yesterday we were at St. T's with Mr. Stevens and grade 7.
I was in 7 with Miko.
Okay, but I remember being in a class with
Stevens, 8.
Grade 8.
Yeah. Stevens, I think so.
Yeah, no, now, oh my goodness, and it's still the beginning.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's still so much to learn. There's still so much to grasp and develop, and this is the beginning now.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And as always, everyone, keep it long term. Peace. That was great, man.
Pleasure.
Dude.